Today, I'm going to head over to the Palm Springs Art Museum in downtown Palm Springs, California. If you're up for an adventure, hop in and come along with me. I'd love to have you join. Hey everybody, thanks for joining me again here at The Daily Trace. This is my new second channel. The primary channel is Traces of Hollywood, where we visit celebrity homes and graves and filming locations, but this one is more day in the life and everyday adventures that I go on. And as I mentioned, today I'm going to the Palm Springs Art Museum. I'm meeting a couple friends of mine there, Ken and Alfred. And Ken has an Instagram that you guys should check out if you're into cool Palm Springs mid-century architecture, and he also has an amazing ear for music. So feel free to check his page out, and I will put a link in the description so you don't have to worry about writing that down. So the Palm Springs Art Museum is in downtown Palm Springs, and here we're taking a little side road over. I like to just see different things around town, so I take a different route each time I go anywhere in town, just so I can see something new. I'm fairly new to Palm Springs myself, and even though I visited a few times, especially when I lived in LA, there's still plenty I haven't seen. And if you look to the left, you'll notice the Albert Frey Illuminaire house, and someone pointed out that Albert pronounces it Fry. I hear everyone in town say it Frey. I have a friend that owns a Frey, so it's kind of stuck in my head, so forgive me. I'll probably just keep saying Frey, but I will try and do better on that. But you saw we just passed the front of the art museum, and there's excellent parking. You can park in these little lots that are on either side of the museum itself, and it's free parking. Most parking in Palm Springs is free, pretty conveniently, and I think the mayor actually just recommitted to that. Down here you can see these little art gardens, I guess, for lack of a better word. There's one on either side of the main entrance, and when it's not as hot out, they will actually do musicians and little food carts and things down here. And there's also covered garage parking across the street that's also free. So Palm Springs has a little walk of fame, these little stars in the sidewalk, much like Hollywood does. I'm sure it was inspired. Well, in fact, I know it was inspired by the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Here's some interesting statues that are out front. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time out here, but we will have a look at this sculpture. This is a Henry Moore, but it was a high of, I believe, 117. And by this point of the evening, it had dropped down to a balmy 111 degrees Fahrenheit. Here's a view looking back towards Palm Canyon. There's the Forever Marilyn statue. If you go to my main channel, there's a Marilyn Monroe video that I'm about to feature there that comes out on Tuesday. And this is actually Thursday night, so it's a free night that the Palm Springs Art Museum does every Thursday all year round, and it starts at 5 o'clock. I don't know when it ends. I think it might end at 8 p.m. Sometimes during the year they will have movies, and you pay to see the movies, but they do coincide with these free evenings. But anyone can come into the museum, and you can see everything in the museum. There are no areas off limits on the free nights, so it's fun. A lot of locals do come out to this. In the summer, there aren't as many people here. There are about 30,000 people compared to 350,000 people during the height of the season in winter, when the weather's actually better here during Modernism Week. And speaking of modernism, this exhibit here has lots of these really cool colored lucite panels, as you just saw, the blocks, and then these sticks that are layered lucite. and lots of different artwork. I don't recall who the artists are on some of these. On some images, I will zoom in and try and show you who the artists are, but for the most part, it's just kind of a general walkthrough. This is the glass gallery, which is actually one of my favorite parts of the museum here. And this dress form, if you look, you can see that it actually has a female figure underneath it. It's cast inside. I would assume it's a hollow cast inside, so you get the female figure with the dress over it. It's very ghostly is the way I like to describe it. This all-metal table is my favorite piece in the museum. I would love to have this in my home. I think it is pretty cool. It reminds me of a little bit of like a Jeff Koons style in a way. He did a lot of the silver sterling pieces, but I love how it replicates a flowing tablecloth, even though it's made out of folded metal. And there's a wide variety of things here. There are some Mesoamerican pieces. There are some items that pertain to the local Indian culture. Since, like most places, Palm Springs is built on native land. And we're going to go upstairs here and just have a look around. There's a few more modern pieces here. This one's really spectacular. It it's like a running rug, but it also has a kimono vibe to me. But this entire piece is woven, and I think it's pretty special. And here is an original Andy Warhol. It's the Brillo dress. These little glass, maybe acrylic, I'll just say glass, cubes I enjoy. It's pretty simple. I'm not sure why I love it so much, but it's called ivy, so it's supposed to look like hanging ivy. These are all Matisses, so I've never seen so many in one place, but the variety and the color is exciting to see. It's nice to see these all in one place. Here are a couple of exciting pieces. The cassette tape. It's woven or knitted almost, I should say. Someone's actually taken a magnetic cassette tape, an audio tape, unspooled it, and knitted it into the phrase here. I think that's fun. And I also like those stacked plates we saw next to it. This was all, I believe it says, a cold rolled steel cubes that make a figure. This is a pretty special piece in my estimation. Kehinde Wiley. He actually did the official President Obama portrait for when he left the White House, as each president gets. These are really fun. No, they're not people. They are silicone replica statues, mannequins. But I was fooled the first time I saw them. Ken, who I was with, stopped to take some pictures, and I thought he was chatting with some folks. So here we're looking down into a level below us, these sculptures on this little mezzanine area here. The spider, which I don't really care for. I'm not a huge fan of spiders, and I don't want to see a giant one crawling around. I get enough of those in the desert. And speaking of, I saw a camel spider outside of my door the other day, and I did not know those existed here. I remember hearing the stories from soldiers in Afghanistan and seeing photos of the giant spiders, which for the most part were forced perspective. But they do get up to 6 inches long, and they can run about twice as fast as a human. So yeah, kind of spooky if you're not into spiders. And speaking of the desert wildlife, I've had a few people comment randomly about wildlife and their concerns for what's out here in the desert. And yeah, there are rattlesnakes, there are scorpions. We saw a bobcat walking across the back patio in the middle of the day about a week ago. Pretty big kitty, yeah. That was quite an encounter. And we have Roadrunners, which I really enjoy Roadrunners. So here's a David Hockney piece. I'll just take a moment here to mention this. And I have a friend who knows David Hockney, and he is friends with a notable celebrity, and he has a sketch that David Hockney did of that celebrity, and he gave it to him to keep. So it's fun visiting some of my friends. I have a fairly good collection of good people I like to spend time with, and they're all interesting. They all are artistic in their own way, be it music or the arts, or hair and makeup or wardrobe, or it's just being good at whatever it is you do. I think that's a skill, and I respect anyone that is good at what they choose to do in life, no matter what it is. I mean, you can be a car salesman, and if you're the best, then respect to you for that. And here's some more Albert Frey. I especially like this architectural model, and this is of the Luminaire house that we saw outside. And if you haven't watched it yet, on my main channel, Traces of Hollywood, I have an entire video about Albert Frey and some of his designs around Palm Springs, and I actually take you inside of one that a friend owns, so I had access to get into the interior. So be sure to check that out. And now we're walking out from the front entrance towards Palm Canyon, which is the main street through Palm Springs. There's the Forever Maryland statue. And on Thursday nights, the city has what they call the Village Fest, which is also free to get into. And it's lots of local vendors and artists and food. There's a bakery that sets up called Alpine Mills that I'm a huge fan of. And unfortunately, we didn't stick around long enough for the music this time to see if that person was performing as Michael Jackson, but that would have been fun to see. But it's a good time, so if you're ever here on a Thursday night, head out to the Village Fest. They shut down the main street for it, and it's a good time. So thanks for joining me on this visit to the Art Museum, and if you enjoyed it and want to see more, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.